back. Our guest is Marcus Spears from SEC Nation. And,
what's up, my good people?
And Marcus Spears comes with gifts. Johnsonville Sausage, a big sponsor of SEC Nation, brought some brats in this morning.
Yes, and my guy Brett. Brett is one of the brothers from the Johnsonville commercials, which a lot of people should be familiar with because the commercials are pretty dope. And so Brett last year was introduced to SEC Tailgate. And I went up to Wisconsin, shot a commercial with Nick, his brother, and Brett. And they introduced me to how they tailgate up north, which is nothing close to how we do it down here.
A little different.
They but the hospitality was great. I had cheese curds for the first time. Didn't know what those were. I think they just smaller versions of mozzarella sticks. I'm still trying to figure it out. But we so it's been a great partnership, man, and seeing them, I'm gonna let Brett talk to you guys later, but seeing them see what we do here on a Saturday before a game, unbelievable.
I tweeted out yesterday once we got the interview confirmed that you were going to be with us, and somebody tweeted back at me and said, and I hope you take this as a compliment. I do. Said you're going to have the Charles Barkley of college football announcing on, huh? And I thought about it, and I said, well, there are some similarities. You know, you don't come from a traditional broadcasting background. You were a player, and you have that ability without, for the most part, ticking people off to say what's on your mind. Not everybody in this business can do that. You've kind of been afforded that opportunity, and that's your style.
Well, you know why? Because it's never condescending.
Right.
I always try to be honest and give an honest opinion. But, you know, people sometimes take critical as being condescending. I don't mind saying what I see. And that's the one thing when I started. I was like, I'm going to tell the truth. Some people going to like it, some people not. Mm-hmm. Some people just don't like your personality, which is all fine. When we open ourselves up to the airwaves and the national television, people judge. And if you come into this with some kind of idea of how you want people to look at you, you probably gonna fail.
Right.
Because you changing all the time.
Right.
And I think that's the one thing that I've experienced from people around the SEC, and even when I go around the country now, is that the one thing is that you always the guy. You always the same guy. Like, we get it. And yeah, temperatures change because circumstances change. We deal in college football. You deal with a lot of different type of scenarios. So, you know, your tone, what you say, and the things may change based on what the information is. But this me, man.
Yeah.
The most important thing to me is God, my wife, and my family.
I hear you.
And I'm going to represent them the right way. And some people going to think I'm not. Some people going to think I am. But, you know, the respect is what I'm after, not the liking.
Right.
Yeah, because, you know, you're trying to get everybody to like you. You're gonna live a long, hard life.
Well, your former head coach doesn't worry if everybody likes him. That's
exactly.
for sure. And listen, you're in a unique perspective here, too, because I know you respect and admire Nick Saban, what he did at LSU. He was the coach that was able to get LSU to where everybody always thought they could go.
Right.
And you won a national championship with him. You're close to him. At the same time now, him coming to Alabama changed the landscape of college football in this league. And you look at LSU, the 2011 team might have gone down as the greatest team in college football history had they not had to run into Alabama again.
Absolutely.
It's just – and we see it today, the buzz that he creates. Just talk about what he's done at Alabama, but how it's affected – it's brought the conference up, but at the same time, it's kept some other schools from having some remarkable runs themselves.
Listen, it is I mean, we legitimately having a conversation about this guy, and that's what I call him, about him being the best coach to ever coach this game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think people understand the magnitude of that. Just to be in the conversation, whether you feel it's Bear or whether you feel it's Nick Saban, it doesn't matter.
Right. He's
in that conversation, and we still having an opportunity to watch him coach. But I think for our relationship is so different that I don't see him like everybody else does. Right. He's been a mentor to me, a father figure when I needed him to be, a coach. But the one thing I respect about him, he's always told me the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when you're young, you think the truth is an attack. And you think that he's trying to, you know, why are you talking to me like that? And you butt heads because – the personalities don't mix. And then now that I'm older and I'm sitting in this chair and I'm actually doing what I'm doing, this is a byproduct of what Coach Saban did for me. You know, obviously my mom, my dad, my coaches in high school and all of that, but the one thing he told me when he was recruiting me is don't make a 4-year decision, make a 40-year decision.
Right.
Well, I'm sitting in the middle, the beginning stages of the 40-year decision.
Right.
You know, so I respect that about him. But what he's done for this league and to this league, because he has definitely hurt other schools. And we did an interview this past spring, and I said, you don't get tired of, like, it's almost like he's one of those, I'm in competition with myself. He's in that plateau now. Now, what he's done is all of these coaches know that they need to raise their level.
Right. Of
not only playing, but recruiting, the attention to detail, the hiring of great staffs, and we're going to start to see that. From a national perspective, he's hurt the league because he makes it look like other teams aren't good. Mm-hmm. You know, Texas A&M go in 6-0 and get obliterated by them.
Yeah.
Tennessee gets obliterated by them when they doing well. LSU gets beat badly by them 2 years ago. And these are all teams that people think are at least going to be in the conversation for the college football playoff. And what he's done to them in this conference has hurt that national perspective.
Right.
So it's just a lot of edges. It's not a double-edged sword. It's like a trillion-edged sword when you think about the landscape of the SEC because of what Nick Saban has done at Alabama.
A great example is every coach that comes here, the other 13 coaches know they're going to be asked about Nick Saban in Alabama, every one of them.
Yep. And I almost at times get uncomfortable about those questions because these coaches want to detach themselves from being Kirby doesn't always want to be known as former defensive coordinator for Nick Saban. I'm sure he's proud of it. It's not something that Kirby doesn't embrace, but in competition and in your legacy, Kirby wants to be known as Georgia's head coach, and his legacy built off of that. Jim McElwain is 2 years back-to-back SEC championships, and the first thing people say, well, he was the offensive coordinator in Alabama. Well, he's taken his team to the SEC championship, revived the program in Colorado as a head coach.
Right.
Now you got to give Nick credit for identifying that these guys are already really good coaches before the rest of the world knows when they become head coaches. But it's funny to me, man, but he's you look at the opportunities. Like you look at all of the great coaches, they all have a tree.
That's right.
Belichick's tree. Saban is a part of that.
Yeah.
Romeo Crennel, they all a part of Bill Parcells' tree. And, so it's just a part of that. He's a part of that group that's just been great, in college football. And, you had Wade Phillips, his tree with Bum and, all of those guys. So he's a part of that, and he's one of the guys. So now you got one of his best friends in the NFL who may go down as history as the greatest coach in the league in the NFL in Belichick, and you got him in college dominating the game. I mean, and they all come from the same tree. Pete Carroll was a guy in that tree. So it's amazing to see, man.
It is. It took an incredible offer for him to leave LSU with the Dolphins. I mean, Wayne Huizenga just said,
gave him
I'll give you whatever you want.
Give you whatever you want.
He and Terry Saban, I think, fairly quickly, I'm not going to say regretted it, but felt like college football was their place. When you were with the Cowboys and you heard he took the Alabama job, did you know then, based on that, maybe not to this extent, but that Alabama was coming back big time?
Oh, I knew it was coming because the diligence and ahead of the game. I tell people all the time, Coach Saban beating y'all because he's 2 steps ahead of y'all. Mm-hmm. Like, no other coach would have hired Lane Kiffin.
That's right.
Nobody else would have did
it.
And they knew he was one of the
best.
Not
a lot of coaches could have done it.
They could have done it, right? So, and when he hired him, I called him and I was like, I didn't question the decision because I knew he had already went through every possible scenario
Right.
He had prepared for every media question. He had every angle figured out of how he was going to manage that relationship.
Right.
And I was like, dude, this is the oddest couple maybe in the history of college football. You stern, direct, you like to do things in a sequence and order, and you just hired a guy where you don't know the next day what he going to be doing or what he going to be thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to give Lane credit for the first 2 years. He stayed behind the scenes, kind of sat back. And then when he knew he was in line for a head coaching job, he started becoming Lane again and speaking out more and wanting to do different things. But, you know, that hire, that genius of a hire, and then it's Mike Loxley. You look at it, it's crazy. Kirby just left.
Yeah, and you already kind of alluded to this, but the way he's changed college football, I'll be honest with you, Marcus, and I know he started a lot of this at LSU, but when he got to Alabama, I never heard of analysts, or I never heard of, like you said, former head coaches taking jobs for minimal pay.
Yep.
I mean, he kind of, and now everybody does it. And the same thing with recruiting. You know, he was willing, he and Urban Meyer were willing to bust their hump as head coaches to go out on the road. A lot of coaches, as you know, head coaches don't want to recruit that hard, so they change the rule.
Absolutely.
Evaluation periods are different. He kind of does so many things that are legal, but as you said, being ahead of the game, that the rules always try to kind of catch up to Alabama to kind of keep them in check so they don't run too far away from everybody
I'm telling you right
else.
now, and it's because of his NFL background.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the league, every coach, every analyst, every scout, every GM, every owner are figuring out ways to work within the rules, but get like right on the line. And it's fine. So that's why you see every 3-4 years it's a rule being adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So satellite camps was the big thing. So then it had to be rules because Harbaugh took that right to the edge.
Yep.
And he used it.
Yep.
And people were mad about it. You know how we get in the South. We think we own football. And nobody's supposed to do anything that we don't do first. Well, nah, he beat you to the punch. And I told Coach, I said, he got you on this one. I told Coach Saban, I said, he got you on this one, man. And Coach was like, yeah, he it's within the parameters. I don't like it, but he got us. And so when you think about what Coach has done, he's figured out ways to work within the rules, but take it to the very line. Man, he got like 40 coaches on his staff.
Yeah.
Like, and look, it's working. And all of these coaches in the SEC, coaches around the country, they understand that we're gonna have to up our level if we're gonna compete with what this guy is doing. Not only in coaching but recruiting.
Yeah, it's unbelievable the things that he does and the ability to evolve, because you remember this well after Kick Six and Gus Malzahn got to Auburn. Well, Saban's kryptonite.
Yeah.
You know, and you and I know him well enough to know he would prefer to play the way they played it 10 years ago. He'd just line up and run 60 plays, knock people in the mouth. But the game evolved, and he evolved with it. And like you said, he hired Lane Kiffin. He said, yeah, I may not like it, but this is the way the game's played now, and I'll be doggone if I'm going to sit back and play it the old-fashioned way. We'll change too.
No question. And you look at the biggest telltale sign for me, obviously, Lane hiring was huge, but how he built defense after that. There was going to be no more Terrence Cody's being recruited.
No more 260-pound linebackers.
No more. It was all Mosley, who was sideline to sideline, 4-4. Then you had Foster, you had McClain. Look, up front, Tim Williams and Ryan Anderson on the outside. I need pass rushers now. Everybody's throwing the football. I'm going to have to rush the passer. So all of that. You look at all of that transition, staying current, staying ahead of the curve, and it's paid off. The thing is, though, and I tell them all the time, somebody's going to catch you. Somebody's going to figure out how to do it their way, and they're going to catch you. And right now, when you look in this league, see the competition now is about to start in February, because Ed O at LSU is a great recruiter. And it's going to be a lot harder to get those players out of Louisiana.
That's right.
As it has been. And then you got Kirby, who's building a fence around the state of Georgia. So now, and Coach, that doesn't matter. He's still going to go hard, and he's going to get top 300 guys, and they're going to continue to come to Alabama. It's probably not going to be as many anymore. And now you're starting to see the playing field start to even out. And he'll still have the advantage because he's the better coach because of experience.
Right.
But with that being said, I want it to get – look, I like dynasties. I like them.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't like them.
I like them too.
I like people dominating. Like Yeah, when I was playing the league, I hated that New England was playing in the Super Bowl. But look, if you're a guy and you're on that team, that's fortunate. You're fortunate, and other people get mad about it. Like Golden State, I hated the KD move, but I'm not mad at Golden State for building the best team in the NBA. That's what everybody's trying to do. So when you look at what Coach Saban has done and what Alabama has done and how they've dominated college football. And when I say dominate, yeah, Ohio State beat them and Clemson won last year. But the consistency of being in that position, nobody has been that consistent.
It's remarkable.
But I'm looking forward to it even. I want it to even out. I want more to talk about. I don't want to know Alabama's going to win the championship before the season starts.
Well, final thing, and we'll let Brad talk some Johnsonville sausages. You mentioned Coach O. Let's be honest. If Saban's not at Alabama, Coach Miles is still at LSU. He's got a couple more championships, and they are the dominant team in the league. He's not there. Coach O, Louisiana born and bred. Is he the guy? You said closing the gap. Can he get LSU over the hump and get to Atlanta and start beating Alabama on occasion?
From this standpoint, if he needs to – Coach O needs to stick to what he does best. And what he does best is he recruits at a high level. His players want to play for him. If you look at when he took over as interim, it was a different football team. From a mental standpoint, it was exciting. And the possibility of newness as well. And then the rapport with players. I walk around the facility. I've been, that's home for me. So I go, and there's a way players interact with a coach where it's genuinely – I want to play for you, and that's what's at LSU. Les Miles had that. The thing that coaches defend against is their message not getting old, but it happens. That's why this guy in Tuscaloosa is so great,
right? Because
it's tough to ask 17, 18-year-olds to be as committed as he's able to get them to commit to the game.
Right.
Ed O has that ability to keep guys excited and enthused about playing the game. So I think in turn they'll be better for it. And get out of the way. Let Matt Canada coach the offense. Let Dave Aranda take care of the defense because you have athletes. LSU has consistently had good enough athletes to compete with Alabama. They just hadn't had the right mentality and the right mindset, and they didn't feel confident enough in the game plan that they could do what they needed to do against Alabama. Up front, Alabama is dominated in the line of scrimmage. LSU, you think back to when we were good at LSU, we had dominant defensive lines. When my tenure between 01 and 04, we had 9 first-round draft picks in 4 years.
Yeah.
So look at what Alabama has done.
Same thing.
So it's a direct correlation. Offensive line as well. So, that's the thing. Delegate, be a CEO, and understand that your marketing team is led by a great marketing director. Let them do that.
Yeah.
And whatever other facet. So if he operates like that, they'll be fine. They're going to recruit at a high level. And then you got Georgia, who what Kirby is about to do. Everybody knows. We saw it in recruiting this year.
It's coming.
We know it's coming. So, and McElwain at Florida. And there's enough players to go around. So now you don't see Alabama become a bad football team. You just see the wealth spread a little bit more. Instead of Nick getting 21 top 300s, it might be like 16. It might be like 15.
We're going to wrap it up. This will sum up Saban. I don't know if you heard this. He was asked upstairs, what does it take to have a long tenure at a school? You know what he said? Win. Simple as that. All right, set us up with what we got.
So this is the most exciting thing for me. Brett is one of the Johnsonville brothers, and I know a lot of people have seen the Johnsonville ads and commercials. So I partnered with them, and they are one of the official sponsors for SEC Nation. So last year I went and did some commercials with them, met Nick and Brett. Nick's not here. Brett's here. And we just hit it off. We had like a great time in Wisconsin. I knew nothing about Wisconsin culture. Like, I was able to go visit Lambeau for the first time. The player that I looked up to, who I love more than any other football player in the history of football, is Reggie White. So I went by his statue and took pictures. And then we shot these commercials. I had cheese curds for the first time.
Yeah, you were saying that.
I've been on Johnsonville sausage though. Like it wasn't because of the commercial.
Yeah, you like it.
I've been eating it.
Yeah.
And when I got up there and I met these guys, it was the type of people that I like.
Yeah.
It was the type of just down home. We want to do what we do. We want to stay out of the way, and we enjoy doing what we do. So Nick and Brett, they work on the line at Johnsonville. Family-owned company. All of their commercials are ideas from the employees that work there or the family team members. They don't like to say team members or something. What y'all use? Members.
Yeah.
Everybody's a member. So just like the Packers, basically.
Yeah.
The whole town owns the team. So we formed this partnership. It's been great. We brought you some Johnsonville. I'm going to give Brett the mic and let him explain to you what the experience like tailgating, like their first Southeastern Conference tailgating experience was last year.
All right.
And they couldn't believe